All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of Off Script. And Florida fans, rejoice. It finally happened. Billy Napier is fired from the University of Florida. It's been a long time coming. I feel like last year a lot of people were calling for his head. This year, after a couple losses at USF, Miami, they were like, get him out, get him out. So he had a couple games after that. Now he's gone. So Florida fans, I know you're hopeful. You have, so much promise right now. Potentially, hope right now. There's who are we going to get? That's what you're thinking right now. And I have three coaches that have really kind of stood out to me so far, and we'll get into that in a bit, but going over Billy Napier first, just at Florida, and why he was unsuccessful. Overall record, 22-23. Just not the standard at Florida. When you think Florida coaches, Steve Spurrier, legendary coach. Urban Meyer, national championship coach. Just not the standard that you guys set. So it was a little bit disappointing. And there was flashes of potential. It wasn't all bad. So that is something I feel like you need to just kind of look at yourself in the mirror and be like, for the most part, was it great? No. But there was flashes. There was times we beat Texas. There was times we had a great run and won a bowl game last year. There was a winning season, 8-5 last year, won a bowl game. So it's not all bad. I like thinking positive here. But he's gone now. And like we said, we move on and we're thinking about other coaches here. So the first coach here, and obviously everyone's been talking about him, so I'll just get him out of the way now. Lane Kiffin, head coach at Ole Miss, SEC-minded coach, great offensive coach, will get a good quarterback for you. DJ Lagway, I do believe, still is a great quarterback, but if he were to go there, definitely develop him even more than he is now. And I think the recruiting surge, too, would just skyrocket. If he were to go there compared to where he is at Ole Miss, I just think the accessibility he would have in the state of Florida, the high school football in Florida, he would make a really, really good roster if he were there. But the amount of money I think they're willing to pay or have to pay him to get him to go there, because he's got a pretty good thing going on at Ole Miss right now. I just got to say that. But definitely a possibility. Moving on here. I don't think this is as plausible as Lane Kiffin, but I wanted to throw on here just because if he were to be hired, this is one of those big names. But Marcus Freeman, head coach at Notre Dame, would be an unreal hire for Florida. Young, playoff experience, took this Notre Dame team from kind of being on the edge of that playoff, like making the playoff and then being a first-round exit, to kind of dominating in the playoff and losing in the Natty, but still knows the ins and outs, tips and tricks, how-tos. I feel like I keep saying that, but knows the playoff, how it works. So that would be great to have. Do I think he would leave Notre Dame? Probably not. Blue blood program overall on par with that Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia kind of caliber team. So why leave for maybe something a bit lesser? And no offense to Florida there, but just in the past couple of years just haven't been on the same wavelength of Notre Dame. So I don't know. I don't see that happening as much. Plus, he hasn't coached in the SEC. Not saying that is a huge, negative, but it's different. The SEC regular season's not a ACC Big Ten regular season. It's completely different. And then the last one, I think this is probably the most plausible, in my opinion. Jeff Brohm, head coach at Louisville, 20-plus years of coaching experience, was at WKU, was at Purdue, now at Louisville, his alma mater. So that is one thing to look at. Would he leave his alma mater for Florida? I mean, giving the amount of money that Florida probably would offer him, potentially, I'd say. But the one thing to look for with him, and this was a little, I don't want to say concerning, but something to look out for. 0 SEC coaching experience, just like Marcus Freeman. It's just, it's not a cupcake schedule. That's a grind every single weekend. So that's one. And number two, when he was at a higher level, meaning Big Ten, meaning at Purdue, he went 36-34 overall record while he was there. So not great, in my opinion. Yes, was it above 500? Yes, it was. But we're aiming for hardware. We want to win stuff. That's all I got to say there. But I do feel like this is the most plausible, the most likely to happen if you were to get a big time name, because when you look at Louisville now and look at the trajectory of where their program was a couple years ago, and this is a little bit after Lamar Jackson compared to where it is now, I mean, complete and positive surge going up. And if I'm a Florida fan, I would be really excited with this hire just because of the program building aspect he has, just being at Louisville for the past 2 or 3 years and being able to have such a positive effect. And like this win against Miami this past weekend, I mean, that was such on the road too. Doesn't go unnoticed in my book, definitely. But I think the trajectory of where he's taking this team is definitely promising. If I'm a Florida fan and I'm thinking, all right, I want this for my team, you know. But Florida fans or fans in general of college football, let me know what you guys think. Who should Florida hire? Should it be anyone who I didn't say? I mean, I know there's a lot of coaches out there. I know Eli Drinkwitz was thrown around in there too, and some Florida fans love it. Sometimes they don't love it. But Florida fans, let me know what you think. Do not forget to subscribe, like the video. Lot of content coming out here soon, so stay tuned for that. But I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you soon.